are live. Today we're making some shortbread dough. So I'm actually doing a double batch of it. So I'm getting my butter all ready to go. I just had an idea. Maybe I'll do one batch and then I have an idea that I want to try now. Okay, so we got 2 sticks of butter. I was going to do a double batch like I said all at once, but I want to try something with adding some cocoa powder to the thing. So I would need to, I haven't actually tried blooming cocoa powder very much, but I hear that that's like how you actually get the best flavor. So I think I'm going to, I never do this, but I'm going to heat up a couple of sticks of butter. Hi, Maria. Hope you're having a good day. How was your first day of school? I'm experimenting right now. I'm gonna see if this will turn out with the shortbread. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 separate ones, and I have 2 sticks in this bowl right here. I'm going to heat it so that it's just a little bit melted, and then we're going to use the heat from that to help, I think it's called blooming the cocoa powder. Basically activating this a little bit more to actually really give it a good flavor and make it stand out more, instead of just adding it into like the flour component and then mixing it in. I've tried that before, but it just doesn't have quite that, like, you know, great flavor pop. So we're gonna try this today. Okay, so we got 30 seconds, but it probably will not need that long. Okay, and then we have this. We're gonna add our powdered sugar, but I think that's gonna be ready. And oh yeah, it's gonna be ready in just a few seconds. So let's do that one first, because that'll need to set up a little bit. Almost done. Okay. First day was actually great. Yay! I already love my options. I had philosophy, history, Russia from 1917 to 1953, and math. It's so strange not being in uniform though. Oh really? You don't have to be in uniform this time? I was in uniform from kindergarten all the way through senior year of high school. I think I'm going to give us a little mix. Now we have to be in business wear, so suit. Oh wow, it sounds so fancy. Okay, I want to say that's good. We'll see how this turns out. Okay, so I think I would like a nice strong chocolate flavor, so I'm going to test out what a tablespoon is going to be like. I'm going to get a little whisk. Where's my baby whisk? There you are. Hey, you made it! Hi. All right, kind of break that up a little bit. this is going to be like a chocolate shortbread base. At least that's the goal. I have tried the chocolate shortbread. Like I said, it hasn't ever had the right flavor. And then I was taking like a baking info session recently, and the person was talking about activating the cocoa powder, and I've heard of it, but I was like, maybe I should actually give that a try. Key Biscuits little baby. I know, right? It's like the perfect size for this one. I have to go. Oh, it's good to have you stop by. Thank you. Hope you have a great day. Okay. I think we have this all mixed in here. I'm gonna let this cool at room temperature. It's supposed to like sit for a little bit to like fully activate it. No, don't cry. This will be up later if you want to check it out. Okay. I think I'm good. I'm gonna set this to the side. I want to let that sit by itself for a little bit, and then also gotta have to cool it because it needs to be like a little more solid like this, like soft enough to blend obviously, but what's activating the cocoa? I think that's the correct term. I'm still kind of learning about that, but basically it's like if you just add cocoa powder, like what I've done before is I take like a bowl that I'm going to measure out some flour right now, but I take some flour and I have my other components like when doing a chocolate chip cookie or something, and I add the cocoa powder to the dry ingredients. But what I learned somewhat recently is that in order to properly like really activate the actual like flavor of the cocoa and really make it like actually kind of pop, you have to activate it in like some kind of like warm liquid like water or butter or something. So this is my first time actually trying to activate the cocoa instead of just putting it into the dry ingredients itself. So it's supposed to help with like making the flavor come alive, I guess, in a way. Okay, so let's measure out, I'm gonna measure out the powdered sugar first. And I'm also gonna measure out the stuff that I'm gonna be using for the other batch, but we might not be able to whip that up on live. So the recipe I'm using, I believe it's on marthastewart.com. I always love this shortbread recipe. It's just like a solid one, but I do like to play around with it a little bit. So it's the very, very basic. It's just 2 sticks of butter, which should be about 220 grams of butter. And it's unsalted, and then I add salt myself. And then we're gonna add 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, as well as 2 cups of the all-purpose flour. So I'm gonna get ready. Trying to see if I can add everything at once. That's what I always done, maybe. Or that's what I've always done. LOL, maybe I'll give this a go. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this turns out, so I will definitely let you guys know. Like I said, because the butter has to set up, we might not be able to whip that one up on live, but of course, as always, I'll record it and oh, excuse me. I'll record it and then share it at some point in the near future, of course. Okay. And as it is, we won't be able to finish these on live, unfortunately, because I always let the shortbread set overnight. Or not overnight. At least for a few hours, or if I'm doing it late at night, then I let it set overnight. So we'll have to let it set in the fridge for a little bit, and then I like to poke holes in it and then put it into the oven. So, but these are for the jam bars that if you saw the short from yesterday, these are going to be 2 different bases for those. I could definitely like measure out with a scale, but I'm just going to do this for today. Like I said, we're doing 3/4 cup of powdered sugar. I've always wondered, do you find a difference in salted butter versus unsalted plus salt? The main difference is that you're able to control how much salt you want. But specifically if you're making certain things, like if you're going to make buttercream, always use unsalted. I remember that being like a big thing when I was first learning about some stuff, especially like watching cooking shows or cooking competitions and stuff. And it was like, or like baking competitions, people would make the mistake of grabbing salted butter, and with buttercream it would be way too salty. So it's more about like being able to control the salt level yourself. But like it can definitely still turn out perfectly fine and good and everything. My mom actually like pretty much exclusively uses the salted butter, and she just skips adding salt. Okay. So we have our powdered sugar. Thank you for the answers. Of course, I'm happy to answer. Thank you for asking the questions. Or else I'm just talking to myself. How was the hot weather? I remember you mentioning it last week. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was what did I get up to last weekend? It was like 103 Fahrenheit it was averaging. So it was very, very hot. I was luckily able to go hang out at my sister's house and go swimming for a little bit, which we haven't been able to do very much this summer at all. So that was a lovely way to spend the day. And what else? Besides that, I was just trying to stay cool in the house. But now it's actually starting to cool down, and it's kind of giving us a little like taste of fall, which we haven't been having. It's like we used to actually have a feeling of fall, and now it just is like it stays hot into October. So I'm hoping the fall weather comes back, because that's my favorite time of year. How's the weather where you are? I'm kind of curious. Like, is it hot? Is it cold? Checking on the butter. This looks so interesting. Looks like a strange kind of coffee or something. Nearly 40 degrees Celsius. I thought it was pretty warm at 23. Yeah, it gets pretty hot here. Like, I think we haven't had nearly as many 100-degree days this year, which has been nice. And I'm hoping that means that fall is going to be cooler faster. But, 73 degree. Oh, I like wish for 73 because to me that feels like cool, and it feels like just a nice temperature to return to, especially after all the heat. Like I get very excited when the weather gets to like 70s. Okay, let's measure out 2 cups of flour. Now with the flour, I never pack it down. You always want to like fill it. I can't see it because it's too tall, but let me do. So you want to fill it and then kind of like shake the stuff in there, not pack it down, or else it's going to have extra flour. And unless you're making like bread or something, you don't want the extra flour. Even then, like, you want your ratios to be pretty accurate. Okay, so there's 2 cups for that. I'll finish measuring out the other 2 cups in a little bit. For us, that was take off the suit jacket. Oh yeah, no, 73, or as yours is 23. I only ever did Celsius in college for chemistry stuff, so I forget sometimes like how different they can be. That's like a beautiful day here. A lovely spring day. Okay, set that to the side, and I also need to get my salt. So the original recipe calls for 1¼ teaspoon. I like to switch it up, but it's also either coarse salt or kosher salt. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I like to switch it up and add just a little bit less because the particular salt that I use, it makes it too salty. So that can kind of affect how something will turn out. So I'm going to add in just about a teaspoon. And we'll keep that. Set you to the side. Okay, so now we can start to mix up our stuff. We're gonna check on our cocoa mixture here again. I think it might have been already like about 5 minutes. Hello, thank you for joining. Hope you're having a good Friday. Hard to believe it's already the first week of September. But we do have spooky stuff coming up. Today is the last day of the Healing Through Food series that I've been posting. And then we get to jump into spooky stuff next week, which is, like I've mentioned, arguably my favorite season. So I'm very excited to get started on all of the fun. Okay, I think I'm going to pop this in the fridge so it can cool a little bit faster. So I want it to be at least somewhat solid when I start to mix up. A little ghost emoji. Yes. So excited. So many projects right now. My fridge space is limited. Okay. Cool. What is that? We're making some shortbread. So that you just saw was some melted butter that I had put some dark chocolate cocoa powder into, unsweetened cocoa powder, so that it can help activate it. And then we're cooling it down so that it'll get a little bit more solid, somewhat like this, hopefully, obviously not in sticks anymore. But it's supposed to help activate the flavor. So I'm testing that out today because I've heard about that, but I haven't done it yet myself. So I'm kind of curious to see how that works. But like I said, because it has to set up for a little while, hopefully the fridge worked its magic pretty fast, but I might not be able to whip that one up, but we're doing the basic one right now. So let me grab my mixer. Okay, so now we're gonna mix our butter and powdered sugar together. And sometimes I mix it separately, like I will whip the butter first and then add the powdered sugar. Sometimes I'll add it at the same time. I personally don't feel like I've seen it make that big of a difference, but just want to get it so it's nice and fluffy. Use a spatula to scrape down the sides for all this excess powdered sugar that we're getting here. And some people like to have either the bowls where it's like the rubber bottom so it'll stay. Sometimes when I'm mixing up doughs like this, I actually prefer to not, like sometimes I'll add a little pad underneath to make it non-slip. But when I'm mixing like this, I actually kind of prefer to have it be, movable so I can kind of turn it. I don't know if anybody else does that. That's just my preference. And for anybody who's joining, we're making some shortbread cookie dough, and we're going to put it into a pan, and then they're going to be turned into the jam bars later that we're kind of playing around with. Okay, keep mixing this for a little bit longer. Okay, I usually mix it for longer, but I won't mix it for as long today on live, just so we're not sitting here for too long. But I am going to add in some vanilla bean paste. And this is a change that I made when I made the first set of jam bars. Oh, I need to get some more of this. Come on. Yeah. Okay, so at least 1 teaspoon. I think I added 2 teaspoons last time, I want to say. And I really, really liked the flavor on it. And the difference between, close my finger in the door. The difference between vanilla bean paste, if anybody's curious, is that extract is sitting the vanilla beans in like an alcohol, typically, and it kind of like imparts the flavor over a long period of time. Vanilla bean paste, as far as I understand, you actually take like the beans inside, but also the, for lack of a better word, husks. I don't know if that's what that's called, but the like the pod of the bean. And you blend it up and sometimes add like a little bit of extract just to make it a little bit liquidy, but that's why you see like so many vanilla bean pieces in here. So it gives it a really great flavor. Okay, let me see if I can screw the top off of this. I can. Come on. I know you have some more for me. How do you not make a mess when whisking? I always spray butter or flour everywhere. Yeah, it can definitely get messy with especially flour. But one of the things that I do specifically, especially with butter and stuff like that, this is a really nice high side bowl. So other mixing bowls, like the bigger ones in the set that goes with this is like my mom's set. They're shorter. So if I were to mix in a bowl that's like a bigger version of this, it does splatter pretty easily. So that's why I really, really like these high-sided metal bowls, because they reduce the splatter by a lot. So very, very helpful. My family have a bottle of vanilla extract. The homemade kind is really nice. Ooh, I still haven't tried making homemade extract, but that would be really, really good. I actually think I have some vanilla beans. I should try that. And I've heard you can do like different alcohols to have a little bit different flavor. Like I think vodka, I want to say, is one of the typical ones, but I think like bourbon or something is another one where it will give a different flavor to it. Come on, vanilla bean paste. I have my Loran one too, but I like to use that one when it's going to be like super highlighted for the flavor. Come on. Trying to get every little bit of this vanilla bean paste out. Need to get some more. But I really, really do like the vanilla bean paste from Loran. Okay. I was able to squeeze like a tube of toothpaste. I really want to order some more of that one, but like I said, it is pricier, and it's definitely would be better for like, this is going to be kind of like just an extra great little flavor to go with the jam bars. But if I want to use the Loran one, I typically do that when I'm going to highlight like a vanilla bean, I don't know, like mousse or whipped cream, like something that'll highlight the flavor better. Oh, a steep bowl, I'll keep that in mind. Yes, yes, definitely. That is, that totally changed the game when I started mixing stuff, and I was like, oh, it makes such a difference. Okay, so we're gonna mix that. Okay. I'm gonna scrape down the sides of the bowl like always between each step. Make sure we're getting everything nice and mixed. I just love seeing those vanilla bean pieces in there. Definitely need to order some more because I've been loving the way that it turns out with the shortbread. But I am going to try out baking the shortbread for a little bit less time today to see how that'll turn out with the jam bars. Because it turned out really, really well, but I am, like, my mom makes lemon bars and the base recipe is actually fairly similar to a shortbread recipe base. And kind of want to bridge the gap between the shortbread bars and my mom's, like, a version of my mom's lemon bars just with jam instead. Oh, this week I got back my remarked history paper and it went up grade 9, best grade. Oh, yay! That's so exciting. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. You gotta celebrate. Let's see. I always like to whisk the salt or whatever into the flour. And just as a reminder, this is just 2 cups of flour and a teaspoon of salt. That looks so good. Thank you. I know I'm excited to test out more of these bars because they did go quick. My taste testers were definitely happy with them. But my sister did make the request, like, to have it more like the texture of my mom's lemon bars. So that's kind of where I'm like, I don't want to quite get it to that point, but I want to bridge the gap a little bit and see how I can change it up a little bit. Then we're going to mix this until just combined. We don't want to overmix that flour. Got a little bit over here. Okay. Okay, we're back. I have like a random call coming in. So we're gonna scrape off everything as much as we can. Don't want to waste anything. And I sometimes like to scrape off most of it and then put it low in the bowl. And let the spinning do most of the work to get some of the excess off there. Okay. And let's just finish combining everything by hand. Or with our spatula, I should say. Okay, everything is come together. So let's grab our quarter size sheet pan. This is a 9 by 13 inches, 9 by 13 inches. And we're gonna line it with some parchment paper. Okay, so I like to kind of pop it in there and then just fold down the sides so it'll kind of keep its shape a little bit. I want to hold it out a little bit too much. Okay, so we have our pan ready to go, and we're going to add our shortbread dough and try our best to spread it out. It's a little bit hard with the parchment paper, but I like to have the parchment paper just because it makes it easier to like pull and cut, like pull out of the pan and cut it and everything. Haven't tried just doing it like in the pan itself, but I'm gonna grab my offset spatula to help spread this a bit. Where did you go? There you are. Ha. I was hiding behind another spatula. Calls today, my goodness. Okay, I think we're good. So I'm gonna try and spread this out as best I can. Sometimes I'll, to finish it off, I'll wash my hands and so they're nice and clean, and then kind of press it down with my hands. But I like to spread it out at first like this. Oops. I just want it to try and be as even as possible. I can smell the vanilla bean. It smells so good. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot to set my flour bowl to the side for our other batch. Okay. So I'm also trying to scrape off some of this excess that was on the whisk attachments as well. Okay. I'm just going to press it down so that it's nice and flat and compact, but also trying to make it more even. Usually I like to roll shortbread between two pieces of parchment paper to make it nice and thin and even, but I just want to make sure we get the shape of the pan, so that's why we're doing it in the pan this time. That's usually when I'm going to be cutting it into like pieces or something. Specific shapes, if you will. flat on the sides a little bit. Okay, this looks pretty good. Not absolutely perfect, but I'm happy with where we're at. Okay. Looks so smooth. Thank you. I tried my best. So from this point, we're going to put this into the fridge so that it will chill for a while. Like I said, I like to put in there for at least 20 to 30 minutes, if not longer, maybe like an hour, just to make sure it's fully chilled. And then I'll take a fork that has like some long prawns on it, like this, and then just poke it a bunch of times and then bake it for a while. Goodbye, shortbread. I know it's gonna go for a little nap in the fridge. So, and then I'll bake it off for a while. And yeah, if you guys would like think a tutorial, like a longer tutorial of these jam bars, once I get them fully figured out, would be good, let me know. I am really liking how they're turning out so far. But, and with these ones, I think I'm going to do strawberry again, because I made some more strawberry jam. And once again, I think I didn't add enough pectin, which I thought would be enough, but I think I just need to get some more pectin and maybe make another batch. Yes, you want a tutorial? Okay. You're back, yay! We just finished mixing up the shortbread dough with vanilla beans in it, which is why there's all those little specks. It smells really good here. So yeah, I'm going to do the strawberry jam on top of it, bake it for a while in the oven to kind of thicken up the jam a bit. Trying to figure out how I could thicken it up even more maybe beforehand. But yeah, that's what we're going to do with this batch. And then for the other one, let's check on our chocolate butter, which sounds so weird to say. Oh, this looks so strange. Okay, so it's still not set. So I still would like to let this cool for longer. And mix it up a little bit and then stick it back in the fridge. That's a phrase I never thought I would say, chocolate butter. But I'm going to let this chill for a while longer, and then I will do the same procedure of mixing it with our powdered sugar and then adding in our flour and salt and everything like that. I don't think I'm going to add any kind of vanilla bean paste, maybe a little bit of vanilla extract, because sometimes that'll help like just kind of enhance the chocolate flavor a little bit more. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how this turns out. So I will definitely have to let you guys know what happens with this. But it's going to take way too long. We'll be on live for like 3 hours if I do this and have to clean up my stuff and reset. So is it bad I want to eat that? It looks like pudding. It kind of does look like pudding, does it? It does not look as like smooth and luscious. It looks like a little bit more lumpy. But yeah, it does look actually pretty good in a different way. Maybe that's something we do at one point on the live, is make some pastry cream. I love making that for especially cake fillings. Oh my gosh, so good. So yeah, I'll definitely have to update you guys later as to how this is going. But I'm excited to test these out. And I thought about doing for this one, since it's chocolates, I have some cherry jam that I made. So it'll be a cherry chocolate bar. Cherry chocolate jam bar, I should say. Okay. Get everything in here to clean up my mess. We're gonna stick this back in the fridge. What is that? LL, sorry. No worries. The one I just put back in the fridge is a mixture that we did earlier of, I melted down 2 sticks of butter, and then I added some unsweetened cocoa powder to it. So what I've been learning recently is that activating the cocoa powder in some type of like warm liquid, like water or butter or coffee, something like that, before you add it into a baked good will help like kind of activate, I believe, the flavor more and help like enhance the flavor more. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how it turns out, but basically it's a very similar to almost exactly the same as doing this. It's just adding an extra step of melting down the butter, adding the cocoa powder, and then letting that chill before I start mixing everything up. But the rest after that point, it should be pretty much the same as mixing this up. So I'm excited to see how it turns out. And like I said, I'll be doing, I believe, the cherry jam on top of that. So we have strawberry and vanilla bean, and then a chocolate cherry. So I'll have to let you guys know what happens with all that. Okay, good to know. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, so from here, I just gotta pop this in the fridge, like I said, let it chill for a while, and then I'm gonna bake it off. Me too, a little. What else? If you guys have any other questions or comments to pop in the chat, ooh, yum, yay! I'm glad you think it sounds good too. I have taste testers that are excited to try more stuff, and then I'm also going to see some people tomorrow. So I always have to bring desserts. I feel weird if I don't. Plus the fact that I'm testing it out anyway, so it's perfect timing. And also I want to start making Halloween stuff very soon. So, what else? Like I said, today is the last day of the Healing Through Food series, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, get ready for Halloween because they were coming full force next week. I'm probably gonna go through. Halloween is on a Friday. That's fun this year. But yeah, we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. So let me know if you guys have any specific ideas of things that you'd like to see, especially for lives. We could do some fun stuff on there. Halloween stuff. Usually I try and orient typically I try to do the live to match kind of what we're doing for the season when I can. The strawberry jam one you made looked really good. Thank you. That one did turn out really well. The only thing is that the jam still was a little bit soft. But with these ones, I'm going to bake them I'm going to bake the base just a little bit less so that it won't be as crispy shortbread. Because I was mentioning earlier, my mom makes lemon bars, and I'm going to try to not quite do her lemon bar base, but kind of do like a halfway point in between the two to see like hers are like a little bit softer, and she doesn't bake them for as long. So I'm playing around with stuff. But those first bars did turn out really, really well, and they did go very quickly. So I was very happy with those ones. So excited to make some more, excited for Halloween content and all that good stuff. And I'm excited that it's not as hot this weekend, so I can actually do some baking and not heat up the entire house. I'll still have to like limit myself because it's still like 87 degrees, but that feels like, a nice breeze compared to what it's been with the hundreds. So, yes, anything else? I know BKC you just got back in, and thank you for joining again, but that is our live for today. I wish I knew it could be a taste tester. I know, I always say it, like I wish there was a way that I could hand you guys, like the ones that attend lives, it would be so cool to be able to like have the technology, like hand you guys samples through the screen. That would be amazing. But that's in like a sci-fi movie or something. Or like a magic movie. Yeah, you're still like, I feel like your mind is still blown. Yeah. No, 87 this weekend, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so much cooler. It's like, it feels so much better. We get to not wear blazers or jackets, no ties. I think it's kind of funny that that's like, when it gets like warmer, that's like the stuff you guys do. Slushies, oh yes. Ice pops, of course, absolutely. Oh my god, like the otter pops, I used to love those as a kid. Haven't had those in forever. That's 30 degrees, yeah. Like 87 this weekend, everybody's just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so nice this weekend. I tried making a Dr. Pepper brownie. Oh, interesting. It didn't turn out good. It kind of takes up the Dr. Pepper. Interesting. I haven't heard of Dr. Pepper brownies. I've heard of Like, I think a long time ago, when my sister and I were younger, she did uh, either like 7 Up and or orange soda cake. Like there was a thing that she saw about it or something. In Idaho right now it's 81. Yes. 12 degrees is nice. What is 12 degrees in Fahrenheit? I can't the Fahrenheit to Celsius equation. I had to use it all the time in chemistry and I cannot do that in my head. Oh, me too, even though I'm a kid. Yeah, 81 is like a lovely day. 53 degrees. Oh my God. No, that's like 53 degrees is like super chilly here. Like that's like our winter weather. Like that's like one of the kind of like the coldest it'll get. Maybe it'll get to like 48 degrees. But I love it because I love there's like you can bundle up like with a bunch of plushy blankets and snuggle with, Lily loves to snuggle when it's cold outside. Like I do not get space to myself when it's cold. But when it's hot, it's just like there's only so many layers that you can take off. Like it's just I love cold weather so much more. I walked to school with no coat most of the year, LOL. Yeah, it sounds like your weather sounds just fantastic. Oh yeah. I love Dr. Pepper, so I wanted to put it in brownies. Interesting. Did you find a recipe or did you just like want to try something yourself? 12 degrees is like late autumn, winter, spring. Oh, yes. That sounds amazing. I can't wait for it to actually feel like fall here again. It's my favorite time of year when it gets to like low 70s, high 60s, when it gets like that nice crisp cool. I just love it so much. Favorite time of year, but we haven't been having it as much the past few years. It kind of like skips straight from summer to winter very quickly the past few years. It's nice, but the rain. Oh, that's true. In Texas, where I live, it's 90. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, last weekend was like 103 almost the whole weekend for here in like where I am in California, and then this weekend is like 87 something. So we're like, oh, this is lovely. Yesterday I was running from building to building and ended up like a drowned rat. Oh gosh. Y'all are built different. Yeah, it's the heat. Like I've lived here all my life and I'm still never used to the heat. Yes, I went on Pinterest. Oh, nice. Okay, interesting. But to be fair, it's humid here. Oh yeah, I can't do humid very much. I was in humidity one time in Minnesota, on a camping trip, and that was like one of the rare times I've been in like really thick humidity, and I don't think I could survive that. So hats off to you. It is a drier heat where I am in California, so it's it's a trade off basically. OMG, yes. I was checking it down yesterday. Flooded car park equals mayhem. Oh gosh, that sounds awful. Yeah, we definitely need more rain here in California, but not like that. We actually had this like freak storm the other day that was super crazy, and people were saying it was like a tornado, but they called it wind shear or something like that. But it literally came out of nowhere. Like the day before, I'm not even joking, was 103. And then the next day it was like still 90 something, but it was super dark and cloudy, and it came out of nowhere that these winds went crazy, and actually like the power went out. There was like tree damage and like leaves everywhere. It was insane because it came out of nowhere and then it was gone as quickly as it came. It was just the weirdest thing. I've never seen anything like it. I'm glad I avoid actual flooding. Yes, avoid that. Tornadoes are crazy. I know. I can't imagine people that live in like what's called Tornado Alley. The other day when it felt like I literally was like, if this is what a tornado is like, I can't imagine living like that ever. I lived in Alaska for 2 years, Idaho for 5, Texas for 6 years. Oh, yeah, so, oh, that's right. You've lived like all over the place. Lies, it was totally a tornado. My sister's like, we were together at that time when it happened because it was just like in the morning I was going to go take care of my niece. And so I was at her house and it was just like all of a sudden we were just talking and then like the wind goes crazy. We heard a boom. It was like the weirdest thing. I don't like the humidity. Yeah, I know. The humidity is just, it's so thick. And it was actually very humid that day. It was a rare, like really humid day for that span of time when it was like the perfect little storm, if you will, to have that stuff happen. Yeah, it was wild. And then it's been like sunny the rest of the week and still warm, but I still dream of when it becomes fall weather. Although the past few years, I've actually been able to go swimming in October because of how hot it's been. Like the first weekend of October, the past few years have been like 90 degrees or 96 or something like that. I live in a semi-rural surrounded by farmland, so we see the rain in the fields. It's crazy how suddenly bad it gets. Yeah, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Because usually, like, we know. Usually it's like, oh, it warns us there's something happening or something coming. But that was like out of nowhere. We got no warning about it. OMG, I can't watch Twister because I live in Texas. Okay, I can understand that. I love natural disaster films, but I get if you're in an area where that could actually happen, that would be a no-go. That would not be fun. Here, I'm going to pop this in the fridge so it can start to sit. I love them, but I'm safe in England. That's so true. I know in California we don't get crazy stuff like that, at least where we live. Just that one thing the other day was just like so different from anything that we usually experience. Away from the coast, cities and not far in the countryside. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, we're at least a couple hours from the coast. All right, we are coming up on an hour. If we have any other questions or comments to pop in the chat. Like I said, keep your eye out. I can't talk anymore, and just it's only beginning of Friday, and I'm already done. Keep an eye out for the last day of our Healing Through Food series, and let me know if you guys have any specific requests of things you'd like to see on live, especially with spooky season. Let's see. So middle, gotcha. If I move back to Idaho, I will. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Bye. See you next week. Thank you so much. I hope you have a really great week. Good luck with all of your classes and everything. And thank you for joining and being in the chat. I really appreciate it. Says bye, Maria. Yay. Thank you guys for being so active in the chat. I really, really appreciate being able to talk to you guys. And not just to myself. TYY. What is... I fear I may be too old to know what that means. What is TYY? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, that's it for our live today. Thank you again for joining and for being so active in the chat. As always, if you guys have any questions, let me know, or any ideas for things you'd like to see, definitely let me know that. But I will let you guys know how things turn out on this end, and I will see you guys very soon. I hope you have a great weekend. Try and stay cool if it's hot for you there. Yeah, have a great weekend.